Oh, it's just us.
It's just, yeah, okay, good. I did have two links. I tried that. As soon as you exited the other meeting, it ended the meeting. So I joined using
Oh,
it.
yeah, it was probably my fault. I think there's a big red button. So I just, I was in a hurry, so I clicked it. I think it said end meeting for all, not just leave meeting. So
Got it, got it, got it. Okay, here's some people
actually,
coming.
last, yeah, here we go. Yeah, last week we had a good presentation by Karen.
Yeah, yeah, I saw it. Yeah, good.
Hi, Karen. I'm still digesting your presentations from last week.
Yeah, were we going to have discussion today on it? I think because we didn't really have time to last week I just presented, we didn't really have time to discuss.
Yeah, I think that was um, from my understanding, that was what the goal was. I was just talking with Jeff earlier, and I was saying that I'm getting a lot of pings from different people in the industry, and it's like there's some new ideas flowing in. So after OFC, I think we'll be very busy. Kind of like the industry does that, right? It kind of has these wells of innovation, and then I guess the whole industry digests it and build products and markets or whatever, and then so we're going back up to. It looks like the swell is forming of innovation.
Yeah, I guess I would agree with that there are these waves of innovation.
Since we only have 30 minutes, would it make sense for Karen to bring up her presentation and then we can ask questions?
Yeah, we're 5 minutes in. Karen, do you mind doing that?
Just give me a moment to re-find it. Um, let's see. Yeah, just a second. I'm realizing that I'm finding the PDF version, which was posted, and it's not as easy to present that.
Try to get the
Maybe I just have to present that and
Zoom
see.
setup working.
Hey, Bobby, I'm on the road, so yeah. Well, so what we Karen's going to bring up her presentation from last week. Since we didn't have a chance to talk about it, she's going to bring it up and we'll just a quick discussion.
yeah, let's talk about it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, did you have something else though,
Thanks,
Bobby?
Karen.
I mean,
I am still, drafting some topics and see if we can work more, but I think we can start uh with your presentation.
okay. Let's see.
And Bobby, I think I'm going to connect you with John D'Ambrosia, and I think he'll be available to present the 400 gig Ethernet to us.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, we talked about it, but we didn't close the loop on it. So my fault. We'll close the
Oh.
loop on it.
So good. Yeah.
I don't know why I'm not, okay, where am I? Where is that window? Okay, found it.
Awesome.
Right, so. Can you see that okay?
Yes. Can see you
Okay,
good.
so, probably nothing on this slide. I think this is just a
Yeah, this
baseline.
is sign.
Okay, so I'll just keep flipping until someone says stop and we want to discuss something.
Actually, I do want to talk about. Can you go back on the reach slide? Those numbers. Oh, per amphenol.
Yeah, this is, I have to say, this is per amphenol, and it's assuming an OSFP
It's
connector and
32.
32 gauge. Obviously, those could be changed and things would change.
Yeah.
And also I did notice in doing a survey of just what was generally available in small quantity on like fs.com or other websites, there is some variation in reach depending on implementation. The quality of the cable itself, I think people talk about. There's if it's one of the active cables, different chipsets get different results. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
these are not absolute, this is not
'Cause-
physics, right? It's implementation.
I saw some things like they have 28 or 30, right? So it seems like
Probably
those
active.
the gauge is 30 or 28 that usually able to extend a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
Mhm.
so when I did this survey, there was some variation in gauge, if you see.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I didn't pull the variations for DAC.
Mhm.
But yeah.
I'm wondering is
But it
yeah,
it
maybe
adjusts, within like I would say no more than 10-20%, right? I mean,
right,
it's
right,
not
right. No, I was thinking about the bend radius. Is there a
ah, that's true too. That's a good point.
right? Because when you have a a, a thick, the larger cables, diameter cables, the bend radius is bigger, and that might cancel out the length, and maybe it's an interesting things to put it in as a comparison, compare with fiber.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. The bend radius is a real limitation. So that could be interesting to put in as a limitation.
Mhm.
Well, Bobby, if you're talking practical things, the other part is not all of these dissipate the same amount of heat either,
Right,
which is
right.
a primary concern when you start thinking about the scaling that's going on in the AI rack.
Yep.
Yeah, I was very surprised when I think it was last ECOG I asked people about their AEC power numbers, for 200 and they were very high.
Yeah, that's 60 is giant.
I mean, people will probably say, "Oh, it's not that bad," but when I asked people what they were getting in practice, and they may not be best of breed, right? I mean, but it was on that order, certainly. I mean, and it seemed
Hmm.
like the power was essentially doubling from 100 gig and, and like any, yeah. And I mean, maybe digital chips, you go to the next node, but then there's that trade-off of,
Hey, Karen, one question. When you have an AC and you put 28 there, is that 28 for both ends of the active cable or is that for one end of the cable?
yes, the power is for the entire cable, both ends.
Yeah, because I think at ECOC they gave me I'm trying to remember the exact number, but it came out to about 10, 11 picojoules per bit for one end of an active electrical cable. So it sounds like that's probably in the same range.
That's about the same range, yeah.
Yeah, I was getting like numbers like 30 watts per end. Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
So you think about it just in the heating standpoint, you know, now you've got what is it, 576 of these in the rack. And that's just for the scale out. Yeah, so this is a significant power.
Yeah, I mean, I think, isn't that why the NVIDIA design doesn't use these, right?
It was, yeah, yeah, it was the power and the side, I mean the face, right?
I mean,
Because
to me, the comparison to optics is the most interesting, right? Because at 100 gig, it looks like the power for AEC is slightly lower and the cost is definitely lower. But then when you go to 200, if the power is significantly higher, that completely changes things.
And this is the intuition about it, right? This is the intuition, like when you go to 200 gig, that copper becomes borderline not realistic in this.
I think more than borderline, right? I mean, a 2 meter reach with the bend radius and you know, and or a 60-watt option, right? I don't it's
Yeah, it certainly becomes more a lot more flavor to the optical side at 200G.
And then, you know, if you just kind of mentally extend this chart to 400, then you can like, imagine that copper is really out of the race. 400 gig per lane, that is.
Mhm.
So Karen, when you talk about the cable reach 3 to 4 meters, did you look at to see what would be required to connect two racks together?
no, I did not. I think I've seen someone present that. Do you remember where that is, or have you seen it?
No, I just can't recall. But I'm just trying to think, how do we, I assume what you're trying to do here is put this on an equal footing basis. Is that what is that what you're thinking? Like, if you need, say, 5 meters to connect two racks together, and this is only 3 to 4, then you might have to have yet another retimer or switch in the way to make it work, right? I'm just wondering if that's the goal.
So
I think that's I think I was going on the assumption that there exist architectures today, presumably using DAC, which presumably then is 3 meters or below, right? And that if you drop the reach below that, you begin to rule out those architectures, let alone enable more interconnected architectures.
I think to frame it into terms of AI racks, you are at 3 meters, you're at the edge of what's useful for scale out. But if you look at, you know, 1 meter or less, now you're kind of you're encroaching on what's even useful for scale up within the rack. Because your cable route will sometimes take you more than 1 meter from one place to the other.
Well,
I mean,
don't you need 3 meters just within the rack? Like if you're going from the middle of the rack to the top, let's say, or the middle of the rack to the bottom, taking into account
Yeah,
radius
three
of
meters is
curvature,
the
I think you need 3 meters in the rack for the extreme cases.
yeah, it's a
so
rule of thumb.
So Karen, here's how I would think about it. And again, maybe this is wrong, but I'm just inspired by, the way NVIDIA designed the NVL72.
That's right.
So the reach across the back plane was 1 meter, approximately maximum 1.2 meters maximum, I think is what they could reach. Part of that's because, the SerDes has to drive the copper cable, copper traces on the board through the connector, through the copper cable. So the actual cable reach was only about a meter. And so then he architected the shelves in that rack so that, that the reach between the switches and the GPU cards would only be, about a meter at most. And so that's how they did it. Now, I think if you said, okay, well, let's not use I forgot the name of that connector that they use, but if we didn't use that connector, let's say we use one of these DACs or something, then it's, you could do that and then you could reach 3 meters, but then it's going to cost a lot more. And at least what we hear from the price targets especially for scale up, it's really low, right?
I'm not following, Jeff. So you're talking about 1 meter within the shelf.
What's that? The back plane,
Oh, within the back plane. Okay. So you go across the PCB on your shelf, right? And then you go
through the connector.
on the back through the connector, through a backplane connector to the next shelf.
Right.
And so you basically would have 3 segments, right? Two on each, one on each shelf, and then one across the backplane.
Yeah. Then the copper cable across the backplane. That's right. And so the total reach might be, equivalent if you had a good cable equivalent to 3 meters. I'm sure the PC board is not that good. But the point is that the actual backplane reach, which tells you your physical separation is like a meter or so.
Okay.
And I'm just thinking about, so I know we're talking about AECs and in this thing, but I just think that for scale up, no one's going to use an AEC, partly because of the density and
yeah, I agree. The backplane connector is the much more relevant, or the backplane cable. I guess the cabled backplane is the much more relevant metric. And those cables, I think, are finer gauge. So does that mean their reach is shorter? The connector is designed, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. So the reason they have to be, they have to be denser because they've got to put a lot of connectors. And if you have to fan out from the SerDes out to, a bigger connector or something, then that's not good either, right? So there's a trade-off. And then you have to find the optimum.
And my impression, and Jeff, you might know better, my impression is that the reaches are net out sort of similar because you don't have the connector, but you have a finer gauge cable. And so it's similarly a struggle to get those couple of meters on the backplane side. I was not able to find generally available information on backplane stuff. So I did the front panel stuff instead, just to show technology. But I completely agree with you. The real architectural enablers are the connectors on the other side. And I think that was what my next slide was saying, was making the transition from the front to the back, and that was where the real action was. And you have to account for density.
Exactly. Yep. So this is a good picture. You can see in the center of the rack there, that's where the switch cards are.
Are you sharing something? Should I need to? I should
Yeah,
stop sharing.
I did multi-share, so we both can share.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I shared an open AI rack that our community is working on. And you can see in the front how the cables.
Yes, there it is.
Each one of those goes towards the back. The yellow ones are 18th scale up. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm sorry, the yellow ones are, could you go through that again? Or can you zoom in at all on the picture?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that better? Can you see?
Oh yeah, that's better.
Yeah, so so I'm sorry, the black one. The black ones are the cables that we're scale out, and then you don't see is a scale up one that Jeff was talking about that's on the board. And I'll see if I can have a picture I have a picture of that somewhere too, of those little copper cables. And but what I was gonna say was the whole point of me showing this is that these actually they had actually not shown here, but on the right hand side there's the rear of the rack, right? The rear picture of the rack. And there's these cartridges that are on the outside edges, left and right of the rack. All the cables go into those cartridges and then get distributed to the switches in the middle. So the cable length is actually, I mean, it's not less than 1 meter, let's put it that way, on average. Because it has to traverse into those cartridges, and then, you know, with that, those plug into these switches in the middle on the left.
Brian,
I'll see if I have a. Yeah. Sorry,
I was
go
just
ahead.
going to ask. I was just going to ask. One thing I'm aware of, or can I thought there might be different. There might be different uses for these different racks. Is this more for inference than for training? Because I think that makes a difference too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. So this rack is set up for, this is a rack that is going to be for training. But the differences are going to be that in the inference, let me see if I believe I have a picture for you on that. Okay. Let's go with this picture here for now. Oh wait. There it is. Right. Let's share that. Oh my god. Pictures in that one. Can't win. So yeah, there's some pictures. Okay. So this is their inference, if that's not too small. This is what they're using for inference. It's very common inference compute. It's not like the NVL72 architecture. That's the one I was looking for. So this is the inference rack layout. And you can see here the blue systems are the accelerators, the purple cables are on the compute nodes. And so the cable lengths are shorter, I think, in this case than they are for the training rack that I was showing you earlier.
Right. You know
So
what
where are the cables going? They're going from the
So see that
top to the middle,
it's
or
summarized in
going all the
blue.
way down. Okay,
Yeah,
it's going all the way down.
So the blue is interconnected in kind of a
Okay.
scale up, right? And then the green is the scale out, if you will. So the green kind of connects to all of the nodes, the blue just to the accelerator nodes.
Brian,
But they look comparable, right? They look like they're the same reach required.
Yeah, but I think the key thing is this is 100G, right?
Yeah, these are 100G.
So
right?
that's the difference, Karen.
Yeah, that's exactly correct.
So at 200, you'd only be able to go from the top to the middle.
Yeah, let's see. I think there's a picture.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, so this is these are IO connectors, and that's where all the copper cables kind of fly out from here on the left side of the board.
Oh, okay,
Let's
nice.
try to see if I have another image that's more clear. No, I think that's this is from an upcoming white paper that we have writing. If it's being reviewed. I may have yet a better picture of this. Hang on. You continue the conversation while I look for it.
So it looks like we need to be cognizant of whether we're talking about inference or training and whether we're talking about 100G or 200G.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I think in our group, we're probably more focusing on 100 plus, 200, 400 that would automatically in flavor to the optics. Right.
Yeah, I think the UA link effort, I think they're focusing at 200 if I understand it right for the.
Yeah, they newest standard is like started with 200 and the only fallback point is 100. So if the 200 couldn't establish the link, the only speed that fallback is 100.
Right. What I'm trying to say is that Karen has a nice chart. I'm just trying to say we ought to decide which view we want to show. Is it 200 or 100? Is it inference or training? Because then there are different cable lengths potentially involved.
Got it.
To make the comparison compelling, right?
I still am not following the argument on inference versus training, Jeff. What would the picture look like for inference versus training?
So that one card that Brian showed in the white paper, the inference there, they have like, I think is that the OAM, I think they have, and it's got like.
Yeah, are you showing it again?
Yeah, I'm gonna show you those. This is the one that I think Jeff was alluding to. So
Yeah.
here you can see these little copper scale up cables, right?
Yeah, those are on the onboard cable.
Right, that's it. Yeah, that's across that's in the shelf, right? You were talking about that.
So this is, I think this is a switch card. Is that right? Is this one a switch card?
Yeah, this one's a switch card.
So in the GPU card, they put the GPUs right near the back of the board to minimize the amount of trace length they have to get to the connector.
So see here, it says NVLink spine. That's what I was talking about, those cartridges. So every cable plugs into this thing, and then it's kind of like a patch panel.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have to drop
so the cables
for another meeting.
Right. I think we're about time.
Yeah.
So I will send out a survey since the OCP is the OFC is coming soon. So we might want to get together at the OFC. I'll send out an email about that.
Yeah.
All right. I think we can continue the discussion next week. Thank you everyone for joining in today. We'll see you next time.
Next time.
All right. Thanks everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.